By the time I turned 12 and 29 BBY, I had finally completed my first lightsaber. The moment I finished its construction, Master Kenobi looked at me with such intensity and said, "Anakin, this weapon is your life." Those words still echo in my mind. Just as he had helped Master Kenobi in the past, Jedi Master Sindralik took me under his wing to train in lightsaber combat. I learned so much from his unparalleled expertise. Every lesson felt like unlocking another piece of what it means to be a Jedi. I remember a time when Master Kenobi was assigned to study a dead star system that orbited a black dwarf. I couldn't bear the thought of being left behind, so I decided to join him without asking permission. The journey was longer than I expected, and I ended up falling asleep during our travels. When Master Kenobi found me sleeping, I thought I might be in serious trouble, but instead he just chose to bring me along. He showed me the dead star, using it as a teaching moment. He explained why Jedi must avoid attachment, because all things, even the brightest stars, would eventually pass away. As I stared at that lifeless cosmic body, I tried to understand what he meant, though I'm not sure I'm truly there yet. That year, 3 years had passed since the Battle of Naboo. I found myself desperately wanting to prove myself to the other younglings at the temple. During one training session, I managed to defeat a training droid that I had specially programmed to mimic the appearance of that Sith from Naboo. I felt so proud as I fought it, knowing that the Masters, Master Windu and Kenobi were watching, along with Supreme Chancellor Palpatine. The Chancellor seemed particularly impressed with my performance, which made me feel important. Later, I was struggling with one of the more frustrating aspects of my training, learning to tame creatures or beasts. I just couldn't seem to get the hang of it when Master Kenobi approached me with the news that Chancellor Palpatine wanted to see me. We made our way to his office together, but when we arrived, the Chancellor made it clear that he only wanted my company for this particular errand. I could sense Master Kenobi's reluctance to leave us alone. I walked with Chancellor Palpatine down to Club Kassekar on level 2685. As we walked, he spoke to me about things that troubled him deeply. The terrible conditions in Coruscant's subsurface levels, how the Jedi seemed unable to respond quickly enough to help those in need, and the corruption that was eating away at the Senate from within. His words stirred something in me. Here was someone who truly cared about the suffering of ordinary people, someone who saw the problems that others seemed to ignore. I found myself hanging on his every word, grateful that he trusted me enough to share these concerns. At the end of our errand, Chancellor Palpatine asked me a question that I can't stop thinking about. He said, "Are you sure you're happy as you are?" I told him yes, of course, that training to become a Jedi was all I ever wanted, and I meant it when I said it. But something about the way he asked it, the concern in his voice, it made me start thinking about things I'd never really considered before. When I returned to the temple, I found myself consumed by thoughts I'd been trying to push away. The more I reflected on it, the more I realized that my entire life's path had been decided when I was just 9 years old. 9 years old! I mean, I was just a child on Tatooine, and suddenly every choice, every possibility for my future seemed mapped out. Was this really what I wanted, or was it simply what had been chosen for me? The doubt grew so strong that I finally went to Master Kenobi. I remember my hands shaking as I told him I wanted to leave the Order. I pulled out my lightsaber, the weapon he told me was my life, and surrendered it to him. The look on his face was hard to see, the shock, the pain. He took the lightsaber, but immediately began pleading with me to reconsider. I could see the true pain in his eyes. The Chancellor's question keeps echoing in my mind. Are you happy as you are? I thought I knew the answer, but now I'm not so sure. Before I could give Master Kenobi my final answer about leaving the Order, Master Yoda summoned both of us on an urgent mission. A mysterious distress signal had come from Carnelion IV, a world that was supposed to be dead, specifically requesting Jedi intervention. Part of me wondered if this was the Force's way of giving me one last chance to understand my path. We set course for the coordinates, but our shuttle took a beating from the planet's atmospheric debris field. The damage was too severe. We had to eject from the vessel before it was completely destroyed. I found myself plummeting towards the surface, landing somewhere beneath the Celadon Sea. It didn't take long for us to realize that this dead world was very much alive. A fierce sky battle erupted above us, and suddenly I understood why the distress signal had called for Jedi help. In that moment, Master Kenobi did something that meant more to me than I can put into words. He returned my lightsaber to me, trusting me to defend myself and help others, even after I had tried to leave the Jedi Order. When one of the combatant airships began to fall from the sky, both Master Kenobi and I worked together to save the two-person crew, using the Force to delay the crash long enough for them to survive. As I held my lightsaber again, feeling its familiar weight in my hand, I couldn't help but think about the words, "This weapon is your life." Maybe leaving wasn't the answer. Maybe this mission would help me understand what being a Jedi truly meant. Not just following a path chosen for me, but choosing to help others when they needed it most. The two survivors we rescued called themselves Open, though they had no idea what a Jedi even was. It was strange, almost refreshing, to meet people who looked at us without any preconceptions about the Order. But our brief moment of safety was shattered when a closed airship appeared overhead. Master Kenobi was knocked off his feet during that attack, and I watched as the enemy ship began to fall. Even though they had just tried to kill us, I couldn't let the pilot die. I used the Force to save Grecker from falling to his death, but that's when things got more complicated. The ancient hatred between these factions ran deep. The moment Grecker and Pran saw each other, they immediately tried to murder one another. Master Kenobi and I had no choice but to destroy their weapons and force them to work together if they wanted to survive. We salvaged the intact parts from both of their damaged airships to build something new, something that could carry all of us to safety. As we worked, I found myself thinking about how we were literally taking broken pieces from opposing sides and making them into something functional. There was probably a lesson in there somewhere. During our conversations, I mentioned why we were here, to find whoever had sent the Jedi distress signal. The moment I said it, both Pran and Grecker's expressions changed. They knew exactly who we were talking about, the scavenger. I could sense this was important, that we were finally getting closer to understanding what was really happening on this supposedly dead planet, but I also sensed that finding the scavenger might be more complicated and dangerous than we'd anticipated. During our flight, Kolara and Pran had me repair a bag of droid brains, and seeing how useful I could be, they made a terrible decision. When a horde of fishers attacked our ship, they threw away my lightsaber and abducted me, leaving Master Kenobi alone with Grecker as their airship crashed below the Celadon Sea. I was taken to one of the Open's fortresses, where I watched in horror as Mother Pran used the processors I had just repaired to activate battle droids. The irony wasn't lost on me. My skills meant to help people were being twisted into instruments of war. They left to wage war on this mysterious scavenger, someone who apparently reminded both factions of their failures and losses. Left behind with the younger Open, I managed to convince them that we needed to protect the scavenger instead of destroying them, and help me get back to Master Kenobi. Working together, I repaired the remaining droids and rushed to intervene in the battle unfolding near Sarah's fortress. I saved Master Kenobi from Mother Pran's attack and finally met both Kolara and Sarah face to face. Instead of trying to stop the fighting, though, through the Force, Master Kenobi had me repair a communications unit so he could call for Republic help. When the task force arrived and forced the natives to cease their hostilities, I realized something profound about his approach. Sometimes wisdom meant knowing when not to fight. In the aftermath, Master Kenobi offered me my lightsaber back, asking if I was still determined to leave the Order. As I held that familiar weapon in my hand again, thinking about everything we'd experienced on this mission, I knew my answer. I decided to remain a Jedi, the doubt Chancellor Palpatine had brought up was still there, but this mission showed me something important. Being a Jedi wasn't about following a predetermined path. It was about choosing again and again to help others and find peaceful solutions, even in the darkest circumstances. Sometime after our mission to Carnelion IV, Master Kenobi and I were preparing to spar in the Jedi Temple training grounds when a question struck me. I found myself asking him why we Jedi use lightsabers specifically. Why not some other weapon powered by kyber crystals? The moment I asked, Master Kenobi used the Force to gently take my lightsaber from me. There was something almost reverent in the way he held it. As he began to share something personal from his own past, he told me that when he was young, probably around my own age, he'd had this idea for two short lightsabers connected by a chain. I could almost picture a younger version of my master, as eager and as inventive as I sometimes feel. But then he shared something even more meaningful. He repeated the exact words that Master Qui-Gon Jinn had once told him. Wielding a lightsaber shows intent. It means the user has put real thought behind the decision to draw their weapon. It's not something done carelessly or in anger. As he spoke, I began to understand what he was really teaching me. The lightsaber isn't just a tool. It's a symbol of what we represent. Every time we ignite our blades, we're making a conscious choice. We're declaring that we are protectors, not destroyers. The very act of drawing a lightsaber should be deliberate. It should be thoughtful, purposeful. I thought about all the times I had activated my own lightsaber, in training, on Carnelion IV, even when I'd surrendered it and taken it back. Each moment had been significant. And Master Kenobi was right. This weapon truly had been my life. Not because it defines who I am, but because it represents the choices I've made and the path that I've chosen to take. The wisdom of Master Qui-Gon Jinn, passed down through Master Kenobi to me, made me feel connected to something larger than myself. At some point after our return from Carnelion IV, Master Kenobi decided to put me through what I can only describe as one of the most frustrating tests I've ever faced. He had me attempting to defend against a group of Marksman H training remotes, but instead of my lightsaber, he gave me nothing but a wooden stick. Seriously, a wooden stick. Masters Yoda, Windu, and others were all watching, which only added to the pressure that I was feeling. I could sense their eyes on me as I struggled with this primitive weapon, dodging and parrying the remote's attacks. It felt degrading, honestly. Here I was, a Padawan who had helped save lives on Carnelion IV, being made to fight with a piece of wood. My frustration finally got the better of me. I reached out with the Force and grabbed Master Kenobi's lightsaber, igniting it to complete the trial properly. The familiar hum and weight of the real lightsaber felt so much better in my hands as I deflected the remaining shots. But Master Kenobi was not pleased. We began arguing right there in front of the other masters. I tried to explain that I was capable of more than just basic training, that I had proven myself already. He insisted that I needed to learn patience and how to follow instructions. The argument must have been more heated than I realized because Masters Yoda and Windu simply walked away, clearly uncomfortable with our public disagreement. I felt embarrassed and angry all at once. Then, as if to add insult to my injury, Master Kenobi left with a team of temple guards to investigate some disturbance in the Force. His parting order? For me to stay behind and clean up the training area. As I stood there alone, picking up the scattered equipment, I couldn't help but wonder if he was trying to teach me humility, or if he simply didn't trust me with more important matters. I couldn't just stand there cleaning up while Master Kenobi was investigating something important. So I did what any resourceful Padawan would do. I disobeyed his orders. Then, using 2 train remotes, I rode through the temple's ventilation system down to the storage level, following what the Force was telling me to do. In the training stores, I was suddenly attacked by battle droids, the real source of the disturbance, without my lightsaber. I was forced to fight with electroblades I found in a nearby supply box, using the Force to guide my movements. Master Kenobi and the guard team arrived quickly, returning my lightsaber and joining the battle. But then I had a powerful Force vision about the council chambers. I had to leave the fight immediately and rush upstairs, past what looked like an unconscious guard. What I witnessed in the council chambers was horrifying. A masked enemy disguised as a temple guard was kidnapping Master Yoda. I tried desperately to catch the escaping kidnapper on his jetpack, but I couldn't keep up. When I reported what I had seen, we discovered that the unconscious guard was actually a disguised battle droid. I noticed something crucial, a symbol on the droid's head that wasn't from the Techno Union. Master Kenobi and I researched it in the archives and identified it as belonging to the Nova Crime Syndicate. This led us to the Wheel Space Station, where we went undercover to avoid disrupting the Jedi's uneasy truce with Baron Administrator Jaspara. We found who we thought was Grenesk Sandberg, the Syndicate leader. Our mind tricks seemed to work, and he directed us to Glee Anselm. There we discovered an underwater base filled with aquatic battle droids and found Master Yoda trapped in thick seaweed. After defeating the fake temple guard, Master Kenobi let me unmask our enemy as a reward for spotting the Nova symbol. But when I pulled off the mask, I was shocked to see Master Bant Aaron. Before we could process this, Sandberg appeared, revealing himself to be Force-sensitive and removing his own disguise to show he was actually Master Windu? That's when it all clicked. This entire adventure had been an elaborate test for both Master Kenobi and me. Master Yoda easily freed himself from the seaweed, confirming my realization. They had been testing whether we could work together instead of constantly arguing, and we had. Somewhere during this mission, I realized that Master Kenobi and I had stopped being just master and apprentice. We had become brothers. And we used the Force together to lift our shuttle off the seabed. I felt a bond with him that I'd never experienced before. The tests had worked. We were stronger together than apart.